I'm up in the janitor's closet at the theater. I'm restocking and doing inventory, and I was thinking about maybe not doing a video for Halloween this year, just because I put out a whole bunch of stuff, and there's really nothing out. I talked about Frankenstein earlier this week, and I was like, maybe that'll just be my Halloween episode, because it's a really really good movie and it's Halloweeny. And I thought, I don't need anything on Wednesday. It's not. I don't. I know I'm supposed to be keeping to a schedule, but it also really doesn't matter when it comes to the views and stuff like that. But I was reminded that Tubi has Four Nights at Fear Forest, which is a Mark Polonia movie, and I've done Mark Polonia movies here in the past. I'm friends with people in Mark Polonia movies. Mel Heflin's done like Bride of the Werewolf, and Jeff Kirkendale and Jamie, I don't remember her last name, are in all of his movies. They're in this one. They follow me on social media. Jamie Morgan. Sorry about that. And I had a little interaction with the pre-production of this movie, so I was like, you know what, I should probably watch this one, and talk about it a little bit. Obviously, I go back to Mark Polonia when they were the Polonia brothers before his brother passed away, going way way back to Feeders. It's that Pennsylvania backyard filmmaking thing that inspired me and intrigued me as a kid, and still to this day like boggles my mind. But you know, what I find so fascinating about his stuff is that it gets distributed. He's created a name for himself, and you can. I'm going to talk about the quality of it, but I mean, therein lies part of the charm to it. Like I grew, I it's hard to it's hard to talk shit about filmmakers when they're getting their work made and they're getting their work seen and out there, and people who know who they are, and when you can make it fast and dirty and cheap and kind of dumb, like there's a charm that comes with that. And while I could thumb my nose at it and be like, if I was given the opportunity, I could do way better. But I don't know that for sure. Like, and not at the longevity that he's had. Um, and I think it's also a matter of like people expect that kind of film from them. And in that regard, like, yeah, feed the beast, man, because it's going to continue to, you're going to continue to make this kind of stuff. Warts and all, and and there's a lot of it, but it's funny. I had a little interaction with the pre-production of this movie. SRS Cinema was talking to me, maybe end of 2023, about Vampire and what the budget was and all that kind of stuff. And they kind of told me some things they had coming up. And one of the Kickstarters or Indiegogos or whatever they were getting ready to launch was for this one, Four Nights at Fear Forest, which is obviously a Five Nights at Freddy's cash in. And they were like, yeah, it's this thing, and there's these animatronics, and they come alive, and they're at a Halloween, or like a haunted house themed amusement park. And I was like, well, my friend owns an amusement park. My buddy Joe Masher, who owns Bowtie Cinemas, bought Huck Finn Playland up in Albany, New York. And he keeps saying, when are you and Schlock and all going to come film here? Because it was going to be Metz, Found, and I were going to go up there, and Madeline, I think, at one point, and go and check the place out. But, I didn't have the budget for it or anything. So I turned around to SRS and I was like, you can use this place. Like the dude said, and imagine the production value you'll get out of that. But Mark Polonia wanted to shoot, at his backyard. I don't know. It looks like it's actually a campground, but periodically they cut to stock footage of like an actual like shore amusement park, and there's just no way, shape, or form that those two things can exist in the same universe. Like because even when I lived in Wildwood, yeah, there's the shore, and then you go over the Rio Grande, you go a little bit further, and you get kind of like towards the Pine Barrens and stuff like that. But this is supposed to like exist right on top of each other, and it just doesn't work. There's like a Dracula, there's a Bride of Frankenstein, there's a mummy. That's obviously played by a couple different people because sometimes he's skinny and sometimes he's fat, and a werewolf, and they're all wearing like straight out of the bag Spirit Halloween costumes. This movie kind of reminded me. I was like, oh, I gotta set my alarm for the day after Halloween when things start going like 50 to 75%, 25, 50, 75% off. That's kind of what this movie felt like. It was like, well, let's wait until 2 days after Halloween, and whatever's left we'll get super cheap and we'll put it in our movie. The movie's about a bunch of like no good nicks in their clearly in their 40s and 50s who are serving their debt to society by going to clean up at this closing down amusement park, obvious campground. And one of the things I love about Mark Polonia movies is that they find new ways to be frustrating constantly. The uh, the blocking is always so flat. The dialogue is beyond stilted. Like it sounds like people. I always think about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom when Steven Spielberg was basically having the guy who's the leader of the tribe for the little village where all the children were stolen. He didn't speak a word of English, so he was just repeating everything the same way that Spielberg was saying it out loud. So he's just parroting it back to them, and that's kind of what this felt like. Is people who have they're just learning the English language that day, and you've got you got your regulars that you see pop up in Bigfoot versus zombies and Sharkula and stuff like that, and they're all acting like this. Like it makes Mark Wahlberg in The Happening look like fucking a master thespian. I love the fingerless gloves. I love the fake beards. I love the fake wigs. Our kind of main guy, he sort of looks like a guy who used to play for the Phillies back when I was a kid named Mickey Morandini, but like if he was a meth head. Jeff Kirkendale, you kind of get what he gives in all of his movies. I can't make fun of it too much because yes, there is some fucking awful shit in this movie, but there's also something bizarrely calming and bizarrely charming, and it really your appreciation for these kind of movies is going to be the level that you get out of this. If you're like, what the fuck is this? I'm turning this off. That makes sense to me. If you like this kind of stuff and you stick it out, you'll get to stuff like when Jamie Morgan dies. She's pulled off of a ladder and she goes, "Oh, what a time to slip and fall!" Despite the fact there's a fucking mummy or a guy in a mummy suit standing right behind her. I love that the Dracula and the Bride of Frankenstein are wearing masks, but then they're wearing like the thing where it's like sunglasses, but it has the top of the head of something of the thing. So it's like, oh, I'm wearing sunglasses that have the Bride of Frankenstein hair made of plastic. Oh, I'm wearing glasses that have Dracula fangs. It's that on top of another mask, I guess, to make it look more animatronic-y. The amusement park closed down in 1995 because some kids snuck in and messed with the wiring. Yet the building gets struck by lightning, a la Chopping Mall, and they come alive. So there's no real consistency to that. They I love the twist ending. Spoiler alert: the Kirkendale is actually one of the animatronics as well, which that would make sense why his acting the way it is. So at least he has an excuse. But all these no good nicks are sent there to work off their community service by cleaning up this amusement park, and they all have plans to escape and get out of there. And Jamie Morgan's going to move down to Florida to sell seashells by the seashore, I think was the plot there. It's just a interesting collection of bungled and botched human beings standing awkwardly in a room delivering awkward dialogue. There's really no blood in it. There's no nudity in it, thank Christ. But it's out there and it's done and it's on the market, and people are going to look at that artwork that I don't know if it's AI generated or not, but I was just like, oh yeah, if you saw that, you'd be like, oh, I'll give this a chance. It's like a little Dracula versus Frankenstein, which I love. A little Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park, and a lot Five Nights at Freddy's. The exterior shots they didn't do any day for night, which I appreciated. There's nice color saturation to outside shots. You know, there's nuggets where there was obviously attention paid. But I love the entire middle section, which is all the narrative. That they just so happened to find a tape from 1995 that has the entire backstory, all of this stuff of all the people in these kind of movies, like a Dustin Ferguson movie, where people film their own stuff and then send it to the director, and then he includes it in the movie, where it's someone in random spots just like delivering really stilted dialogue about the backstory of all of this. And they're usually like podcasters or YouTubers and stuff like that who do like physical media stuff, and they put them in the movie. Yeah, but Jeff Kirkendale, if he's the bad guy and he's trying not to let them know that all this is going down, but he sits there and lets them watch this entire video from 1995. And yeah, I don't know. You can watch the movie, and as somebody who's made stuff before, you go, it has to be a certain length. So we have to get it to a certain minute length. So we'll just have people sitting in a room talking, and then we'll take a big chunk of that and we'll make it this thing that we cut together, and then periodically we'll sprinkle in the monsters, and then hopefully that'll be enough for it to be long enough for it to constitute to get distribution. And in that regard, yes, you it is long enough. You know, if you're going for that B movie thing, you know, if you're going for some lines that are just so fucking poorly handled that they're absolutely hilarious. There was 3 times where I laughed out loud, where I was like, "This is so bad that it's funny." But again, how can we do a Five Nights at Freddy's cash in for $500 in a weekend and get it out on the market? Well, there you go, you did it. You know, so I in that regard, I'm very jealous of the Mark Polonias, where that they get to do this kind of stuff. And yeah, I can watch it and be like, Jesus Christ, man. But in that same regard, like he's doing it, you know, and I'm not doing it. I'm standing in a closet counting how many bottles of Drano we have, and disinfectant wipes. But you know, for something Halloweeny, it's trashy, sleazy, dumb, but it's out there and it's on Tubi and you can watch it. And I like anything with monsters in it. You know, would I have done this differently? 100%. Nobody's offered me to do it any differently. So good on Mark Polonia, man. Good on SRS Cinema. I do wish they would have taken me up on my offer though and filmed it up at the amusement park. You know, you can get a lot of miles out of just interesting backgrounds and production value and stuff. But you know, I would have made actual like mascot heads for the things or something like that. And I would have added some gore to it. But you know, oh, one of my favorite things is they find the one tough guy's bandana and they're like, oh, it's his bandana. But then later on, his head falls out of the roof and it has the bandana on it again. And I was like, continuity is hard. All right, well that's it. Happy Halloween. I'm, you know, the wannabe filmmaker in me goes, "Pff, pff," but the ballyhoo fan goes, good for them, man. I appreciate it, and I respect it, and I wish that was me. I wish I could get my friends together, slap a dumb fucking wig on them, and be like, all right, in this one, they're animatronics and they're possessed. Why are they possessed? Who cares? It's a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff. It's SRS Cinema. It's Mark Polonia, and it's a Wednesday review. So, bye.